Hi everyone, this is Ellen Marie Francisco. Thanks for coming into my channel. We're going to look at the energies through the tarot and through my own observations for the solar eclipse, which is happening on February 17th at 7:01 a.m. in the Eastern Standard Time region. Yeah, all right. So let's see for the collective what this is going to look like. I'm up early getting this video going. Spirit woke me up and told me to get on with it. It's funny, it delayed me for nearly 2 weeks in doing this video, and now it's go time, I guess. So I guess the closer we get to the energies, the louder it's going to be speaking. All right, so let's see what's happening. I'm going to pull 10 cards, and we're going to see. Oh, a lot of cards are flipping over. All right, so for the solar energies, the solar eclipse, it is a new moon eclipse. I think we've all been waiting for this build. We've been feeling it. A lot of people have been rearranging the backstory of their lives, clearing karma, clearing the decks, breaking up, leaving their jobs, all kinds of things, right? I've seen the cycle of ending happening already and through a lot of the people that I do personal readings for, and I've been feeling it. A lot of darkness coming up on the planet, obviously, some of the worst things coming to light. I think it's terrible, but it's also a good sign. It means that things are flushing out. Even in our personal growth, things need to flush out before the growth. Sometimes the growth happens. Sometimes the light comes in, forcing the growth or forcing the release. And all right, so of course, this new moon is coming in with the fire horse. It's like a collective lightening. I have been warned that there is a mass awakening event happening this year. That's exactly how Spirit gives it to me, mass awakening event. I felt like it was going to be happening before August, before the Leo eclipse hits. All right, I'm going to pick my 10. We're going to see where we are. February 17th, Empress card coming through. Oh, okay. Six of Swords coming in upside down. Well, if it was right side up, I'd be saying we're grounding from the high heavens, moving through. We could be feeling like we're grounding in midair, that we're unstable and we've got to worry and live with the uncertainties. It is upside down. I'll let you interpret that any way you want, but I do feel like I feel some doomsday energy around this. The Divine Empress is screaming for our attention here as our soul collective. I would say the feminine is rising. I felt that earlier anyway. We've been slowly chipping away at the patriarch is the only way. There needs to be a more balanced approach with the Empress and the Divine Feminine. Also, this is creation, second chakra, our rebirth. So our new moon, I think we're the ones that are rebirthing here, rebirthing our new world, deciding what world we want to live in and how we want to feel through the energies. Our sensitivities are certainly growing if we're coming in through the Empress. She's often very empathic and very in tune. She's going to feel things on a body level. You may be processing through a lot of anxiety and feeling collective anxiety and wondering how to settle the energies. And of course, if we've got the Six of Swords, there's not a whole lot being settled. There's a lot it is like a dump out. We're dumping out our darkness, whatever darkness we haven't faced, whatever stagnant energies, hidden, repressed, suppressed. Swords does have a lot to do with our own expression and our ability to live with our truth, live in our truth, communicate our truth. The Six is dynamic in a lot of ways because it does include the collective, our family, our spiritual family, our soul family, our birth families, and can talk about our values in our systems. So the value system is changing. That's for sure. I think we've seen this happening. The Page of Cups underneath us is going to be speaking about our own emotional abilities to speak through our heart as well. And yeah, the throat chakra is right next door to the heart chakra. So I do believe that there's going to be a lot of interchange between the two chakras. Truth. Yeah, I'm even feeling the truth coming out with this. This is a child card. So at the base of this eclipse are issues with children. This is, look at the fetus in her womb, ready to give birth, ready to grow into new light, cosmic expansion and beauty, and children upside down. So I don't think that that's hard to piece together with some of the headlines in the news. I was feeling into this earlier in the week. It does feel like, even though there may be a lot of outrage, there's a lot of love coming through this. There's a lot of sacred protection. There's a lot of heart to heart. It's like we cannot keep quiet. This is a throat chakra card. This is the heart. We cannot keep quiet about matters of the heart, and that things that need to heal the heart need to move through the heart plane. We're looking at our Four of Wands here. It is also upside down. Interesting how the first three cards are upside down, and yet the Empress is standing strong, undeniably ready, working with the gravity to birth in the new world. We're kind of in an anti-gravity stage. A lot of people think that the world's falling apart. There's no hope. Well, I think there's hope. I just think it's going to look really weird in the meantime. And Four of Wands to me is like a home nesting card. I see this card show up with a lot of people who are, have just moved or in new relationships where they're hunkering in and hunkering down and finding new ways to express themselves in their own home, home life. So I feel like people are going to want to be more protected in their own homes, that there may be some sense of really wanting to be out in the big bad world, not wanting to take too much part in it. Nesting. You can have a house or you can have a home. So you can be in your house, in your home, or you can just be in the cold or sanctuary. I'm also hearing, God, I'm hearing Homeland Security again. I remember hearing this a lot when I did my video on the US election before Trump got in, and that money was going to be going towards Homeland Security in a way it never had. So I think the idea of home value, the value of our home fronts, they are bringing me more information about the external world, even though we want to hunker down and stay inside. So there could be a lot going on with housing in the sense of the value of our housing and our home life and our family life and things like that. So we may be remaking our ideas, the ideas around how safe we are in our homes, what we're doing to protect the safety in our homes and to protect our children. So these are imminent, pressing matters. I feel like with the influence of the Aquarian sign and the Aquarian age, there could be very rapid evolutions is how they're putting it too. So we may feel like everything is devolving, but Spirit's bringing me rapid evolution through these cards. And Mama here is standing strong and resolute and not interested in negotiating. The Empress doesn't negotiate. The Empress creates through God light and divine creator energy. Yeah, she doesn't get caught up in the foibles of the world. So I feel like the world is dismantling in very important structural ways. And thank God. Yeah. Okay. So what else is happening here? Oh, look who that is. The King of Wands. This guy, okay, he was in our last reading with the full moon, I believe, and here we are at the new moon. So he's coming out determined to do his own thing. Tunnel vision is something that this guy can have. It can be because he's so impassioned by what he needs to do that nothing's going to stop him. that through the love and through the insistence of the divine feminine, the masculine rises to fight. I did feel that in the full moon. I felt that in some of my other videos I've been doing, that there could be some very torturous, male-driven warring, and but sometimes you need to war for peace. Sometimes you need to war against the injustices of the world. So it's quite possible that very prominent men will be coming into new light here as well, working with the energies that need to move. Yeah, it's like things are getting stirred up so much that action needs to be taken. It's not a sit on the sidelines kind of eclipse. It's get the job done and keep on rocking. Sometimes I feel Aries energy through this, but I can sink into it and feel more Piscean energy. So I don't know what's going on with Pisces through the eclipse, but I did feel like there was a lot going in waterways throughout the world. There could be things about flooding, maybe in the spring. Yeah, it could be that. Yeah, there could be a lot of flooding in the spring this year, I guess, is after the Aries, after March, I guess is what they're saying. So if you're living in areas that have to do with floodwaters, or your home is prone to flooding and things like that, it could be, yeah, especially because this is very unsettled energy. I often see the Six of Swords in people's readings when they're going through tumultuous times, and there's an imminent move. So it could be possible that you could be having issues around the home related to flooding, and that you could be trying to stabilize that. Yeah. Okay. So that's my first pass on that. Our doorway to the future is a divine destiny card. I always see these eights as some point of destiny trying to find us, or trying to move into alignment through divine timing. This can often affect our careers. It is a new moon, so it could be possible that some of the work that you did prior to this eclipse was to settle out your career, or to realize that your career needed to change. You might have been unemployed, unmotivated, undetermined about how that was all going to go. But I do feel like the benefits of this uptick in possibilities, I think we just needed to get into the new energies in order to feel the energies that are working for us. Sometimes, you can't see your new world if you're dismantling the old world and everything's falling apart, and if you're being sidetracked by other dramas and other toxins in your own personal life. I do feel like a lot of people had to come to terms with the things that were holding them back, that were running along the sidelines or in the front lines, keeping them from some of their biggest dreams. Often we'll have toxic relationships that intermingle into our downgrade. Like, we think maybe it's just the relationship with them that's the problem, but it can energetically have an impact on everything else you're trying to do. So often I'll see people in toxic relationships wondering why they're not having breakthroughs. Well, you need to break out of the toxic relationship in order for the energies to clear. If you're sending messages to the universe and to spirit that you're okay to live in the toxins, then they're going to bring more poison. So you really do have to be careful who you're hanging out with, why, what's the motivation. Are you living in the old world of contempt and misery, or are you trying to birth a new world of freedom and true light? Yeah. And again, Empress is coming in to bring us collective wisdom, information that funnels through our internal system from the outside world, our spirit guides, our ancestors. Everything is congealing to bring us into better forms of ourselves. You may be attaching or detaching accordingly. This is an anchoring card, and yet it's upside down. So the anchors of the old world are being pulled up and being dismantled. Keep hearing dismantled, and yeah, What else am I hearing? Home fronts. Yeah, we're working on our home fronts. We're trying to decide what kind of a home do we want to live in? Do we want to live in one that supports our growth and helps us birth our new realities? Or are we going to let life take us down? You need to be a willing participant in the world, certainly, but you don't need to participate in the things that aren't good for you. And you don't need to participate in the things that aren't healthy for you. A lot of these choices needed to be made ahead of time. I've been watching this happen for months and months and months leading up to this moment with this pressure build. So have faith in yourself. This is very much, it can be very career driven, very identity driven. So you may have been clearing out some of the darkness in you in the deepest parts of your soul and in the deepest parts of your heart to get right with what you need to do for yourself. And now this is the takeoff point. This is your launch point. So yeah, I think the momentum that's coming, I mean, holy man, if this is the card, our little King of Wands moving in right before our point of destiny and our doorway to the future. Can you see how impassioned it might be? Whoops. Don't worry. Because it's fallen down doesn't mean it's gone. Up and away. Let's get this party started and let's get the good stuff happening. It's like so much has fallen apart. It's hard to see how much has been rebuilding silently in the background under the currents, like there's always an undercurrent. There's always an undertow to the tidal waters that are showing at the top layers, and hitting the shore. You've been working with your undercurrent for months already. You're going to be able to relish in this expansion. So hopefully you haven't felt lazy. If you felt tired, a lot of us needed massive amounts of sleep in February and even in January. And we're repairing on very, 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 very deep levels, cellularly, and through our DNA structure, even through ancestral healing, whether that's healing your family in this lifetime that you have, all your biofamily issues, but you could be healing generations back through past lives, as I've become aware, just because ancestral healing isn't limited to this personality in this life. It can transcend and go back in time to other families you've been involved in that have recurring themes from lifetime to lifetime. So I really feel this is our launch point for those of you that were willing to dig in and go deep, marry the parts of yourself that needed to rise into new forms. You're going to find this a very, very, very interesting number of months. And the eclipses last for a couple of years, or the influence, they can have an impact for 2 years. So all of these eclipses that were heavy duty last year are still kind of overlapping some of this new eclipse energy. So you often do feel like your world is falling apart at the same time it's rebuilt. Think about people who can't leave a relationship unless they've got another relationship, and they secretly go through building one while they're destroying the other or dismantling the other. That's true. Human nature is like that. Sometimes it needs the surety that there is a new world before it will step into it. Some of us need to just clean up the old world before we step into our new world. We're just a little cleaner that way. So whichever way you're doing it, it's happening. And don't be surprised, by the way, if there are relationships that you have had, love relationships, really solid relationships that you think of and find are suddenly also being dismantled, because people may be ending relationships with you and it could be blowing your mind. It could also be part of the unsettling energies through your family structure. Oh, I thought we were going to be together. I thought this was a forever thing. Well, unless everybody's doing their growth, there could be a lot of separations right now. That's the part about the human spirit. It can look really good in your divine codes, like, oh yeah, that's going to be a relationship that lasts forever. And it can look really great for a long time. But if suddenly one of the partners isn't tied in to their divine energies and willing to move and grow, then you've got a situation where one partner is outgrowing the other. And spirit is not into that kind of thing. Spirit wants structured growth moving forward the whole time. So if if somebody seems to be pulling off of you through relationships, whether they're love relationships or family relationships or things like that, just trust the universe. They're going to surround you with the relationships that hold the light that you need, and you need to keep walking towards the light. You don't want to be walking backwards towards the darkness this time. If you're the type that likes to hold on to things and, oh, I've got to have it my way or I'm going to die, basically, like there can be a lot of that kind of craziness through some of this eclipse. I'd say go get the help through any kind of healing modality that's going to help you see things in a new perspective, or get yourself into therapy and try to practice letting go and surrendering, because at the end of the day, Divine Mother is moving you into higher levels of yourself. It's a karmic destiny right now. Some of this stuff you just can't escape. You can't revolt against your own destined growth at this point. You'll be doing yourself a lot of short-term damage. And this is the eclipse where we can really make up for lost time if we're willing to trust the universe and the light that's coming for us. By the way, I do feel into some of the light codes that are hitting, and it really is, it's going to blow your mind for anybody who has sensitivities already, little bits of intuition, little bits of yeah, that's weird, I thought about that yesterday and you're talking about it today kind of connections. Just hold on to your seat, because it's going to get really interesting. So I would also say the reluctant ones that have been afraid of their own psychic growth or their own spiritual growth are going to be they could be a little tortured right now too, because if you're not in alliance with the new alliance of growth, it could be unstabilizing, right? I mean, they're warning about this unstable environment and this sense of, where do I ground? How do I ground? It's hard sometimes to ground when your crown chakra is exploding. So there could be a lot of people who are going through unwelcomed awakenings, and they may need help with integration. I feel like almost people who are in the healing arts and people who support through spiritual means are going to be a little busier during this eclipse too, because again, I'm back to that term I keep hearing, mass awakening event. Not all awakenings are easy, and not all awakenings are welcome. So I feel like a lot of this is just going to be below our minds kind of expansion, and some of us have been quietly waiting for it, really excited about it. And some of us are like, no, I don't want to grow. I don't want to change. We're talking about a lot of tug of war in this next 6 months. So I would say stabilize as much as possible with whatever core energies you can manage to stabilize with, and keep it simple in as far as fight for yourself. Yeah, fight your own fight during this cycle, not everybody else's. Like, it's easy to get caught up in the dramas of other people's soul destinies. I feel like there are pivotal people on the planet that are kind of being awakened, almost like sleeper cells have been sleeping, and now they're coming into new light and a new sense of what their purpose is. A lot of times too, our solar plexus needs more of the divine light moving through it in order to activate. Like, we'll feel like, I know I need to do something, I don't know what it is though, and we'll stop ourselves from doing anything because we don't want to act prematurely, we don't want to be running off in directions that need to be redone. Like, some of us had that self-preservation energy in February and in January. Even if we didn't know what was going on, we were smart enough to kind of hold ourselves back from making big changes. We just kind of, cleaned the kitchen and threw the stuff out that we didn't need. We did more practical, real world things rather than, I'm going to start this giant new project and push it through, because it would have been premature. So I feel like, yeah, with this new moon, it's way better energies to get things off the ground. If you want, to move into new levels of your career or new expressions of yourself, it's going to be way easier. Universal energies are going to support it, even though it seems like, we're still fighting for our own free speech here. You're free to be who you are at this rate in a way that more protected by the divine energies than ever before. It's kind of what I'm hearing. Do you feel those protections day to day? Maybe not. But what you may feel is the impulse to move regardless. Like sometimes it just comes right out of our solar plexus or our sacral chakra, this push of creation. So don't be afraid of that part. Embrace it. I still feel like we're going to need lots of rest. People are just going to be like, bam, you're awake 1 minute and you're sleeping it off the next. So, and I feel like I'm seeing something about avoid avoid alcohol if you can during this eclipse cycle. Yeah, sorry, I put him back in the deck. He's already had his chance. All right, so we've got four more cards left with my Celtic cross. Let's see what's going to happen here. The strength card. Solar plexus. No wonder I started talking about the solar plexus. We need our solar plexus intact to be able to be who we are. So even though you feel like, whoa, I'm taking off and this is my karmic destiny point, you have the strength to follow through now. It's not just flighty, mighty stuff. That sense of being too spiritually high. You're of no earthly good, even if you do feel like you're trying to ground in midair and you don't know what ground is solid, and maybe you're moving and maybe you're not, and maybe the earth supports you and maybe not. You don't know who you are. Who cares? You're going to find your way, and don't let yourself get caught up in your insecurities right now. Figure out where the securities are and press on that gas pedal. You don't want to be walking towards you don't want to let your anxiety or your fears win during this cycle. You want to nurture them and coddle them out of your system and replace that with the sense of your own divine possibilities. Our crown chakras hold a lot of the truth about what we're able to accomplish in this life. And I feel like this eclipse is hitting us with more and more information and more truth about who we really are. So you may have been ready to stand in your strength. You may have been building your strength for months quietly in the winter months, down under, trying to figure out where the bottom of your soul is, so you can bring it up and out into the world without being encumbered, trapped by old entrapments. I think just all of a sudden they're talking about entrapment. So don't fall into the entrapments of the human world and the dark world as you're bringing in your light. I mean, there's usually a little bit of juxtaposition. There's usually a little bit of polar opposites during this kind of growth. Oh yeah, that makes sense too. I want to mention a lot of times I've seen in my own personal growth, as I'm going into new levels of myself, I will feel the darkness. I will feel the waves of darkness tamper with my day or my energy. Don't let the darkness tempt you out of your light during this cycle. Stay away from it. Call it out. Not today, Satan. Not today. Surprised the devil hasn't shown up, because suddenly I'm talking about it. Light is way stronger. Light is quieter sometimes than the dark forces. The dark forces like to kick up a fuss, make a lot of drama, create a lot of havoc. Meanwhile, light is coming from the heavens. I'm telling you, we have the universal planetary support to bring more light onto this planet that stays and anchors in. I feel like we are flushing out the demons, flushing out the darkness, flushing out anything that is the anti-light, the anti-freedom, anti-peace, all of it. Humanity is not interested. And I know for sure in the years that I've seen some of the younger generations come into themselves, there's just energetically, through the structure of the energy human system, there, a lot of these younger generations, the 10-year-olds, the 20-year-olds, the 30-year-olds, they're just not having it. They were born into a world of the future. They were not born into the world of the past. And so their psychic abilities, their drive toward their own internal freedoms is going to outplay some of the older structures. People are going to choose with their pocketbooks. People are going to choose. People are going to demand on mass levels of humanity. Masses are going to demand the light. They're going to demand transparency. They're going to demand the truth. If we've seen uprisings in the streets in different countries already, you're going to just watch. You're going to watch what happens. The people who are committed to the light, who've been quietly working in the sidelines, quietly working at home, quietly meditating themselves, or quietly praying for humanity, that voice is going to get louder, much, much, much louder as a stable force. So, and I feel like this, of all the eclipses, of all the new moons, of all the trigger points with the fire horse and the ring of fire around the moon or the sun or whatever it is, I can't remember. I'm like, where is it? It's a ring of light everywhere. It's gonna hit us from all directions. Yeah. So strengthen up, man. Use your strengths. You came in with God-given talents. You came in with collective and cosmic and galactic light. You came in from other lifetimes. You've already been through these kinds of fights. You've been through these tug of wars. Some of it hasn't ended well, but I think you cleared a lot of that trauma earlier in the year and at the end of last year anyway. So in a way, you are ready to stand in the new light. You're ready to, when you heal your traumas, when you heal the emotional holding pattern, you're a liberated being. Honor the liberation that you've already conquered here and keep working with it. Sometimes it feels small, but it's growing, and it outweighs everything else. Light is much heavier than the darkness. So, oh yeah, so this is another card, part of our future line here. The Two of Wands is a balancing card. Twos are always a bit of, how do you find the balance? You're here, you're there, you're up, you're down, and all the rest of it. So it can show some polar opposites in its uncertainty, but it works towards certainty as well. This to me also feels like remote work. It can be feeling into other worlds while you're in this world. You could be more aware of what's going on the world stage as you're quietly trying to stabilize your own home life and worried about what's going on at home. I don't know what I do with my home card or my Four of Wands. Oh, it's on the floor. Yeah, it's on the floor trying to root itself into new realities. Um, yeah, it's like your home. What is your home? Your body is your home. Your light likes to be housed in a comfortable environment. We're grounding our home base in a way we never have before too. And I'm back to feeling the structure of our home life as well, our happy home lives. So our happy home life has to happen in our heart as well. What's going on in our heart is an internal interpretation our external world wants to mimic. Even though this makes me feel like our solar plexus is waking up and finding a new way, I feel like this is also a lot of the Leo energy that's going to be coming in through the other eclipses in August during Leo season. I've been telling people for months and months and months, you got to get right in your heart. You got to be in your heart of hearts right now. Your divine heart is waking up. It doesn't care what's going on in your brain. It doesn't want to know. It doesn't work with the brain mental part, the mental case that we can become if we're not in our hearts. Yeah, and that's going to be true for men in a very, very, very big way. I feel sad for men sometimes too, because we've grown up, some of the older generations, with massive amounts of patriarch. There was no room for women. Some of the cultures that are at war right now have to do with not honoring woman and divine feminine. And, I've been saying for a long time, the patriarch is dead, in the sense that any outmoded or warped out versions of masculinity are fading off. I think that that's why we had a governmental gender war, protagonistic way that gender gender has been warped. That's the only word I can get to use. But what's really happening is there needs to be the balance between the two worlds. The point is feminine. You can't just be feminine, feeling your way through everything, taking no action. Okay. Like, fine, great. You can feel it. What are you going to do about it? You got to rise up with your own masculine, get it working into the world. If you've got to use your solar plexus, you've got to integrate your divine power through the use of both. Talking about a card here that's looking at two different worlds. Earth and sun, two very different energies, right? One way out there, one way over here. We're creating our new world, a balance between the feminine and the masculine. Divine masculine understands how to work with intuition. Any of the best men in the world, the best leaders, have heart. They understand. They bring in their God light. They look up at the sky and include the maker in their choices. They're just not running their masculine amok. In love relationships, if you have too strong a masculine, the feminine can't do anything. And the funny thing is, the masculine often falls in love with the feminine, and then strips her of her power slowly, and then despises her in the long run. And then what happens to the feminine? She shrinks into nothing. And then she's got to leave the guy, or he leaves her because, he's used her up totally. And then she's got to go remake herself. And how does she remake herself? She brings in her light. So I can't even tell you how many times I've seen this structure energetically. It's inevitable. But the society that we're living in isn't going to... Well, let's put it this way. What's a better way to put it? The society that we live in may fight for these old warped foundations, but it's done. Okay. Like, spiritually, it's done. And what happens when the spiritual energies change? It trickles down to all the other energies, the mental energy, the physical energy, the emotional energies. So we are reworking the base of our soul right now in our communities, in our homes, in our inner worlds, and in our outer worlds. And anything you can do as a strong masculine who understands that you're being led by your own gut instincts. That is, a lot of times men use their gut instincts and women use their empathy. But there's a lot of empathic men out there who are in pain right now because they don't know how to express themselves. So I would say, as a collective, we need to support our men and our women. We need to help our women rise in their power and help our men soften in their glory. That's what I'm seeing. You've got two more cards. Oh, good. A little magic. So what happens when you get the energy right? You get the magic of the universe exponentially supporting you, moving through. It is through the care of your own soul, of your own divine child within, your divine feminine rising, ultimate magic of the universe. The universal energies always come in tenfold, 100-fold, 1,000-fold when you get your energies right. And if you're willing to take off into your new world, in the new expression of your real truth and your real personality, your soul personality, your divine personality, rather than all of this other mental jargon that's been trying to tell you what to do instead of feel you into do, you're going to have a much better time. And again, I'm feeling quick changes, right? Like, magic can move very quickly. I've seen it work beautifully in people's lives because they got the energy right. I endorse it fully in every way possible. You should endorse it for yourself. A lot of times we need the quiet time at home, again, in our home sacred spots, quietly within the walls of our beauty, to come up with the space and the time to allow magic to happen. Yeah, that's true. I'm seeing a lot of stuff with the brain and the mind. If you're reactive in your brain, there's not a lot of room for magic, okay? Magic needs the softness of your feminine and the willingness and the surrendering of your modus operandi sometimes. Like, so I would say, even though things are going to be happening quicker and faster, I would say try to slow the energies down, or slow yourself down. If you're feeling impulsive, I think there's a difference between being impulsive and reactive to being empowered to move quickly. Very big difference in how the energies are working through you. So this is the feminine rising energy. You are going, and it's karmic destiny. I'm telling you, universe has been waiting for these energies to hit the planet. We have a lot of allied forces that are trying to support us from the invisible worlds. Call upon your ancestors, call upon your spirit guides, your guardian angels, call upon your galactic beings, call upon any disembodied, invisible energy that you can, and intone it into being. You are not alone here. You've never been alone here. Although there may be times that you're led to believe that you're alone because spirit needs you to find your inner core unencumbered by any other outside influences. So, and a lot of people have had to pull back and not be around too many people because they needed to understand their own energies. So congratulate yourself for doing that. Oh, and look at our last card. Wow, the Queen King of Wands. Whoa, whoa. Isn't that something? Magic, karmic destiny in our gateway, magic in the future line, and the ultimate glory of who? The masculine and the feminine standing as one. Not as many separations. So, men love your women. Women honor your men. Get it together. Literally, get it together. Who does this represent? Mary Magdalene and the mother. And the solar codes, by the way, coming right through the spinal column. You're handling it better. And what is it doing? It's rooting into the root chakra. So, what a fantastic cycle. Holy man and woman, holy woman. So, rise up in the light. Fight the darkness by contributing and committing to your light in the strength that you have, that you came in. This is not your first rodeo. This is not your first life. This is not your first earth challenge. This is not the first time you've seen a world dismantle around itself in ugliness and darkness with the devil at play. I'm glad the devil didn't show up in this reading. There's no room for the devil here. So be your light, shine bright, shine bright, shine bright. Wow. All right. Anything else I want to say? I don't think so. I think this is a really good start to this eclipse. Allow your intuition to speak through you. Honor your intuition. When in doubt, don't. All right. Like I said, there's going to be some polar opposites energies here. You're going to be like, wow, I don't know. It's quite possible you're going to be tempted to do things in the old way you would have done it, not in the new way you need to. So when in doubt, don't. When you're sure of things, take careful strides and wear good footwear. You're going to need it because I think we're going to be running faster than ever before. And really enjoy the fact that you're going to be able to accomplish things in ways that you've not been able to before. The energies just haven't been available. This is a two-force force. It's you and the universal energies working through you collectively and individually. So you can't give up what you need to do for some false impression that the world is giving you. Like the idea of the world making itself force you to be a codependent, where you don't get what you need out of the world. Like those days are over. Like, a lot of us have already worked that out, right? We're not doing codependent anymore. We're doing interdependent strength, and we're listening to ourselves. The collective doesn't need to dissolve in order for you to be strong. Okay, your strength is needed in the collective, just like we all have our own superpowers that are coming into light right now. That's why we've got this karmic destiny point, rising. It's up, and away. You're going to have a much more interesting life if you're willing to embrace the magic that is available to you now. So if you have any kind of self-sabotage still running and you're aware of it, go try to clear that out, because you don't really want to be walking around the block when you can just walk straight through the building and get into the good stuff. Okay. And feminine rising, masculine, feminine need to be working together, not fighting each other here. And yeah, so be the peace, be the peace that you are. Find the peace that you are and live it. Yeah, live it with your magic. I love you so much. Thank you for coming in. Seems like a lot of the ugly parts of the world, parts that are just unacceptable. Divine Mother would be like, "Are you kidding me? You got to fix that immediately." So that's where I feel some of the speed is going to come. Even though you wouldn't believe it on surface, I think it is coming. Be patient with the change and be willing to be the change, right? Like some of us are being called to stand more in the light right now. The light workers cannot be hiding in the wallpapers anymore, right? Like a lot of us will be silent, we'll be like, it's okay, I'm going to pray, maybe it'll happen. No, you're going to need to use your voice. You're going to need to use your heart. You're going to need to speak the truth. And you know what? If you got rid of some of those toxic relationships, you're feeling more empowered to do that anyway. And you may have already surrounded yourself, or yeah, you may have already surrounded yourself with the beings that are part of your bigger support team. Sometimes you can't have the exalted relationships unless you're willing to get rid of the toxic ones. They don't often share the same room. You usually have to clear those ones out and then the new ones show up. So allow the helpful beings that are coming into your world that hold more light for you, be willing to receive it. Again, as a feminine, you must be able to receive, allow people to give to you. Don't be, yeah, putting your hand up going, it's okay, I'm fine. You're not fine. You need resources, and the resources come from God light that works through the humans on the earth plane. Creator is this source material. It needs to source through other beings to help you enrich your core. So allow the other humans that want to help you, let them help you. Let them help you. Yeah. Let's just look at one more card to see what else. Just one last card. And then we do have the 10 of Pentacles too. This is a giving card as well. So be willing to receive. These are money cards, or abundance. This is like a tenfold. Your good deeds are going to be rewarded as well, right? The things that you invest in that are of the light, for the benefit of your light and the light around you, they're going to pay off. You're going to get rewarded. Spirit does do that. It comes in to support those that support themselves. So make sure you're committing to your core energies. This is no time to dismantle what you really need to do for yourself. Okay. This is where you need to be brave. And maybe that's where you need some of the power of the feminine, other feminines or other divine masculines that see you beautifully and can say, you go girl, this is your time, or you go guy. Yeah, be willing to upgrade. You have to upgrade. This is an upgrade moment. All right. So much love. I'll see you later. Be you in your power. Be you in your heart. And let the love win.